So this is my green stock tower, and this is my aerogarden that I keep in my kitchen. And you can see this basil is just way too big to still be growing in here. Technically this tomato plant is too, but it's too cold to try and put that outside. So I am going to put this basil and this thyme into my green stock tower. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys today. Basically, I'm just going to lift this out of here. So let me try it this way. Oh, well, this one came out quite easily. So this is the thyme, and basically I'm just going to cut the plastic off of here. Cut the plastic off, and then I'll put it in the bed over there. So I'm going to set that to the side, and let's see if I can get this basil out. Basil's gonna be a little more difficult. And that is because of all these 9 million roots in here. See how many roots there are?
It can get quite crazy. Alright, and the basil roots are entangled with the tomato roots. Basil roots and tomato roots all together. I'm just going to try and gently separate them. As gently as I can. This reminds me of doing blunt dissection in anatomy class, except I don't have the little scissor things. This is telling me that the vast majority of these roots belong to the basil, not the tomato. Ooh, so maybe I shouldn't have let this get too big, but you know, it was winter. / it's still winter. Okay. So, all this is supposedly the basil plant's roots. Let's see if we can pull this out of here. Okay, so that is what survived, and I'm going to put that in the green stock. I'm just going to tear this off here. This I'm just going to compost, because what else can I do with it? So I'm going to put that back in my kitchen. My lettuce did not make a comeback last time after I ate off of it, and possibly because it was being crowded out by the basil, so we'll see. These pieces that fell off I'm going to take inside and use on something. I'll make something.
So let's take this thyme and plant it into the green stock. So basically you just cut the plastic around the little spongy root stuff. So that part comes off, and then you should just be able to pull out this part. Oops. Now this spongy biodegradable part, you can just plant that. You don't have to try and pull the whole plant out of it. So I'm going to take this . Smush the dirt around it. And then from there, I'll just water it and hope it survives. So yeah, I'll give y'all an update in a couple of weeks. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put the basil right here. Hopefully it'll deter any pests from trying to eat my kale that's here. This is kale that I have had since the fall. It hasn't gotten super big, but it has had enough on them for me to pick off of it a couple of times. So there's my hole for that. Now this one's going to be a little trickier with getting the plastic off because of how the roots are being so big, but I'm sure we can do it. So get that. Now it is February, so it's still winter. So these plants should be fine. They shouldn't bolt, or the basil shouldn't bolt, because it's still pretty chilly out. I had to go inside and put on a jacket. But it has been a freakishly warm winter in my opinion. Okay, so you see, I'm just gonna separate and try and find this the base that's right there of the plastic, and then try and pull it out. See how easy that came out? So then I still have most of the roots intact. So even if this goes through a little bit of transplant shock, it should still come back. So I'm trying to pick over this. Okay, so I'm gonna add some more dirt to this to make sure it's really packed in. And yes, I'm just taking from these bottom ones that I'm not using. Okay, so you see these brown spots on my basil? It's because it started touching the top of the light in the aerogarden, which is how I decided that it needed to come outside, because it was just too big. But it's planted in pretty well, and the thyme is also planted in well. So next I'll just water those. Actually, the whole tower needs water, and then we'll see how they do.